Hello there. Welcome to the Kirk Minahan wrap-up show for June 4th, 2021. Today's episode, Q96.1, Cautiously Optimistic, which is the name of the radio station that I hope to hear Kirk Minahan on a week from Saturday, in which he will be hitting the post for an hour. But like Kirk said, he's gotten his hopes up before, whether it be with the Red Claws or these other radio stations in the past, Rich Chandler.
Don't even get me started.
I'm forgetting the man down in South Carolina,
Gary Butts.
Gary Butts. But he seems to be cautiously optimistic. It seems like things are rolling. Seems like we have a couple allies on the inside. So hopefully, it's always worrying though when they say, "Oh yeah, well, we just have to get this one guy to sign off," because it's always that one guy. It's always that one guy. It's always, oh, it's not me. It's this guy won't let us on or anything like that. But cautiously optimistic he is, and the Minifans are that he will be on the airwaves in Northern Maine hitting that post. So I'm joined today by Blind Owl, who could not make it last week, for he was getting married. So I just wanted to congratulate you, Blind Owl, on no longer being a virgin.
Well, thanks. Awesome. Well, who said? Well, that news is unconfirmed.
That's awesome. I'm proud of you.
I don't remember much, let's be honest.
But today's show was fun. Today's show was a lot of fun. A lot of laughs.
It was a classic.
How can you listen to this show and not love it? That's my takeaway. I mean, Kirk doing Jerry Callahan hitting the post
was good.
It's just it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. It's awesome. I almost wish, I know that Barstool has these new rules about, playing music and everything like that, but I almost wish he could do a top 20 countdown from the point of view of Jerry and just fucking it up every time and just saying, we're doing it again. It was great. It was incredible.
Ted Nugent, he's a great conservative. Here's cat scratch fever.
When I took my trip to California, I stayed at a hotel. It wasn't this one. The beat. Oh, I got you. Fuck. Oh God, it was chock full of laughs today. I really think like this is the show where if someone wants to get into the Kirk Minahan show, you show them this show, and it I don't know how you just don't fall in love.
There's so many different layers to just the beginning. I mean, Kirk came in a mood. He even said he was in a mood, and he's like, "Don't make me take it out on you, Justin." You're like, "No, thank you."
I like it. At one point, Kirk's like, he's like, "I'm just in a mood," and Connor goes, "What's up?" And he's like, "Shut the fuck up." I just thought that was great.
Now, I empathize with Kirk here. There was nothing worse than when you're sitting in work and somebody walks in and goes, "Yo, how's it going?" Oh,
it was funny. So I was waiting with Mike beforehand, for the show to start, for Toronto and for Kirk to get there, and I hear "Yo," and it was like, oh, there's Toronto. He's just a bubbly dude.
Is that what they call it now?
Yeah, and it was just I've said this before. I think having Toronto in is great. I think having him in some capacity in the show, whether it be, I think, God, I didn't even realize he said today that he's like produced the show over like 25 times. Which
is that true?
That seems like a little high to me.
High.
But if it's true, I mean, that's like once every month, for the duration of the show, which I think he just fits in perfectly.
I mean, he did a couple times when you guys went somewhere, right? He did a couple times, and
he did. Steve got suspended. Madawaska. when Steve's grandfather was sick.
Oh, that's right. That was a few days, wasn't it? It was like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, he's also done.
So my math is only at about 15 there, so it's
I'm sure he's right.
Oh, he did work in Saco too, so I mean that's
yes, but I think him and Kirk have great rapport.
They do.
It's great to see Kirk bounce off of someone different than Steve, which is what we've gotten used to these past 2 years, and I just think it's just going to open up to so much more. Come June 28th when the show is back with David Cullinane. I'm just excited to see where that goes. It was talked about today that Cullinane has some ideas. One of the
Don't we
ideas
all?
that was brought up was that he wants the show to go live on YouTube every morning, which I think is a fantastic idea. I think there's nothing but upside to that.
I mean, the only downside is if something happens and then it gets taken down and then I have to get scrubbed. I mean, hasn't that happened before with live streams?
Yeah, but I mean, worst case scenario, I mean, it gets taken down and you just have to put it up as a podcast, which is what happens now.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be great. I actually talked to Dave for a little bit today about that and the future and everything like that. So it's good to know that the gears are turning.
Well, that's always good. Something new is always
Cullinane's head. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for June 28th. I can't wait. I think it's
does Pat McAfee do that? That's the real question.
Yeah. It was funny. I was talking to Cullinane today, and he's like, listen, I'm not obsessed with Pat McAfee. he was just using. I was like, look, he does this very well. He does these live streams and he puts out clips during the live streams. It's very funny just to hear him go back and forth with Kirk. I'm sure to be a fly on the wall in those conversations is priceless.
I bet it is.
But it's but yeah, today's show was awesome. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the crux of it. So
no.
So Kirk was talking about how he was still upset with the Bangor Daily News article, the hit piece that was written on him.
Absolute hit piece. Pretty much calling him a child, saying, what did he deserve? And you know what? And finally, someone stood up, someone with a platform. I mean, I don't know if you know anyone with a platform or a blog that possibly could have wrote a positive piece on Kirk Minahan. I know probably. I have feelers out there.
Yeah. But someone from Q96.1, which is a adult contemporary station in northern Maine, wrote a piece about why Kirk Minahan, deserves to get a road named after him in Madawaska. It was it was right down the middle. There was no bias taken.
No, right down the middle.
It was awesome. And that just led to, which I think in Kirk's mind, that might have led to a funny 5-minute, 10-minute phone call that led to a web of
what a web
people using
was sown.
Aliases, and we don't even know if people are real now. So they call up 96.1, and this guy's and I forget his name, but this guy's just not having any of it. Mark was just not having any of it, which is
not playing
okay.
along.
I understand. And then Kirk somehow mentions advertising. So the guy's like, "Oh, you want to advertise?" So now he's seeing money. So now he's like, "Oh, I guess I can pass you off to the right person." And
No, that was the woman who did that. That was WCXX. Mark just wasn't having it. He's like, "Are you just going to keep wasting my time, or can I hang up the phone?"
That's right. He said, "Yeah." I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. It's like, I get the people up there are so nice, but it's like just hang up. I mean, instead of just sitting there just going, "Are you going to keep wasting my time?"
What a dick move thing to say. It's like, all right, you could just say, "I got to get back to work."
I was waiting for him to hang up at any second there. And then, which I didn't expect Richard Chandler to be brought in today's show. I thought he was, a forgotten character.
Possibly deceased.
They call up WCXX, and they asked to speak with, I forget the name. I wrote it down somewhere.
It was another Mark, wasn't it?
Yes, it was like Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, Mark Edwards, one of those two.
Yes. And this woman goes, "Oh, that's Rich." And we're like, "What?
What?"
She's like,
I had to pause it.
That's his
okay.
radio name. And then apparently he's in his 50s. And the person who Kirk spoke to last year was not in his 50s.
No. Absolutely. Was either late 70s or early to late 70s.
Is it like one of these things where it's just like whoever is in control of WCXX at the time is Dick Chandler, and once he retires,
it's like a title. It's Dick Chandler.
Like you pass on, like, "Oh,
I was Dick Chandler. My father was Dick Chandler before me. His father was Dick Chandler, and I'll be damned if my son isn't Dick Chandler by the time
you
I
then get to be
retire.
Mark Edwards or something. I don't know quite.
Yeah,
know that.
I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that, but
Because you totally need a radio alias up in
oh yeah, I'm sure.
I can't even say it, Aroostook County in Maine. You totally need a radio
I'm
alias.
sure people are getting swamped at Parody Market, going, "Oh my goodness, there he is! There's Dick Chandler with his with everything." So I don't even have any like thoughts on that. I just don't even know what to say in regards to is Dick Chandler a real person? Because then they tried calling back and it sounded like he wasn't having any of it.
And then the other guy, John, said, "Oh, you talked to Rich?" It's like, what?
It's like, what is going on here? It's
he goes by several names, like Richard,
Dick,
Rich,
Richie. It's I have
Mark,
no
apparently
idea. Maybe it's his son, Rich. I have no idea.
No, but then the woman said there's only one.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I wish I had some answers, but
international man of mystery here. Jesus,
we get one answer and we get 5 new questions. It seems like with this radio business up in northern Maine.
And I have a question for all of the radio business in northern Maine. Can nobody do anything? Is nobody allowed to do anything?
Yes. Is there like something tells me that they're not like super strict on like when, like, I'm sure like maybe if they have someone who plays from 1 to 2 on Saturday, they say, hey, take the day off, we're going to have this guy from Boston come in.
Is anybody there, or do they just have somebody at home with a computer hitting play?
Yeah, it sounds like this. It sounds like one person kind of understood the gravity of like we don't really know what we're doing.
Yeah.
The guy who was like, Kirk was like, I'm willing to pay for studio time, and he's like, oh, you're not going to be paying a lot.
It's like, Jesus Christ, do I need to go up there and pay $20 and get an hour of studio time?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is going to be, AMS North is going to be just the new studio up there, and I don't know.
We'll be broadcasting on 96.1 up in, what's the town? I don't even know what it's called. I forget.
Yeah, it's 30 miles south of Madawaska.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I have no idea. So I DM'd the person who wrote the article.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, what's your phone number? But then, he got Matt's phone number through the show and everything like that. And this was his response. He says, hey, Justin, sorry I missed the message, but I got the call. If you need anything, hit me up. And then he gave his phone number. We have the ball.
Is he one of those guys they spoke to today?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
But one of them was Jeff, wasn't it?
Yes. So this guy's at JC Burton 85. So he says, we have the ball rolling here. I've spoken to the guys who can give us the approval for Kirk to come on one of our stations next Saturday. They have Matt's number and will be in touch. So it sounds like,
guys, why are there so many people in control?
It just feels like I mean, you look at Kirk, and I know I wasn't a fan of him when he was on WEI. I didn't follow him or anything like that. But he would just have like Kevin from Bristol in studio.
Yeah, and there was one person, the program director,
for like an hour. And I don't even think the program director. I think Kirk was like, I want to have Kevin from Bristol in studio. I want to have Steve from Providence in studio.
Yeah.
And it just happened. It seems like there's all these hoops and unions you got to jump through up in northern Maine.
And all these people with generic names. Like,
oh, it's just one big pyramid scheme up there. It's
and nobody's ever in the office at 11:30. Like, what is going on here?
It's like we're gonna find out that like the basement of WCXX is like the Denver airport.
Yeah,
in which there's just like this huge underground conspiracy, like Illuminati sort of thing, and they're all headquartered out of, and they all like succumb to the one Dick Chandler.
Or this is all Dick Chandler. Dick Chandler is all of these people, even the woman. He's all of them.
Yes. So I mean, I could just. I don't know. It just seems like it just kept getting crazier and crazier as.
I mean, we brushed over the destruction of the Madawaska McDonald's, which I'm sure will be a popular place this week.
Yes, I mean, Ann. I mean, I'm pumped to go get double cheeseburger from Ann. It sounds like she's going to be taking some selfies next week.
very strange that the bridge, I will say, Kirk said like the bridge is going to take 5 years. That does seem like a very long amount of time for
I have a bit of insight on this. My brother is a civil engineer, and I spoke to him about this, and there was a bridge near us that took about 7 years to build. I've never seen the bridge in Madawaska, I haven't seen many bridges, but the one here just over the Merrimack River took 7 years. So
Christ. So I can imagine, I guess, with them like kind of fighting against the elements in the winter, and everything like that. Maybe
I'm sure Dick Chandler's got his hands in there.
I'm sure he's getting a slice of the pie.
Yeah, his palms are greased, as Blind Mike said about 4 times this. This episode.
So I think that's that was interesting. And then I'm not entirely sure why a McDonald's would have to be demolished in order for a bridge to be built.
I don't quite understand that.
I could see it happening. I could see, McDonald's isn't in the pocket of these council people in Madawaska.
Just these corrupt and was totally scared to talk bad about the selection. She was threatened or in his pocket.
Yes, I do think that that it was funny though when he was like, do you remember a podcast? And she's like, yes. She's like, that's me, you're talking to me. And she's like, oh, it's like, and then like he hung up and he's like, I love these people. Like he really is a celebrity up there. There's a couple wackos up there who just who just don't get the joke, but the people up there are so nice. And Kirk just loves everyone up there. And he's like as soon as he keeps getting pulled out, he just someone, either it's Anne or Stacy or someone, just keeps pulling him back in. So I think that's going to be a nice fun little pit stop for some people, get some fine Madawaska delicacy at the McDonald's.
Gotta go with the McGangbang. Gotta go.
Yes, the McChicken between the 2 burgers.
Oh yeah.
Always a key moment. So they took calls today, and I thought the calls were very funny.
They're pretty good.
I will say, I'm clipping something, and it's going out at 8, and I think it's going to make a big splash in the Barstool world. And I kind of think that since today's show was so funny, it was glossed over. I should say Harrison actually clipped it, and but it's sent out to go at 8. It's Kirk talking about Rico Bosco having to watch his back. I can imagine some riders are gonna take exception to that, and we'll see who responds. I could see Portnoy getting involved, Big Cat. So
recently when the whole Kirk was on, Rico and Kirk were a pairing, I got a few DMs saying that he was up to no good. Not to name any names, but I don't quite understand the whole thing. I don't get him at all.
Well, I was a rider, but I mean, you get pushed off the horse, you're not going to ride anymore. So
ask the guy who played Superman, Christopher Reeves.
That's right. He did become paralyzed.
Yes, he did.
So
I apologize for that, by the way.
No, you're fine. Yeah, you're disabled. You can talk shit.
That's true.
But yeah, no, I think the calls today were pretty funny. I mean, President Trump yesterday was
he can't beat Trump.
Was obviously a top call.
Residing in New Hampshire, based on the area code, that's breaking news.
Yes, very, very exciting. But I think we didn't really touch on it. Well, we kind of touched on it with Kirk talking about his Jerry impression and everything like that. But it sounds like things are moving. I think Matt gave it a 5 out of 10 probability that he will be the producer of the Jerry Callahan show.
That'll be an interesting dynamic because I know you're not a big listener of the Jerry Callahan show. I do listen, and Dave is Cullinan is more of a B personality on that show, whereas Carano will, I think, kind of go at Jerry for some of it.
I think so too.
Stuff. So it'll be an interesting dynamic.
Yes. I'll listen to a couple shows if that ends up being the case. I like Matt. I think he's funny.
Good.
And we'll see. We'll see how that all works out. But anything else from today's show? I know Mike was in today. It was.
It just felt right with Mike in. That had to have happened with Mike there.
It did. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like,
Carabas wouldn't have been able to hang with all that.
I don't think Carabas would have known, like, no offense to him, would have known what the fuck was going on in the whole Richard Chandler and the whole, like, I don't think he would have gotten the absurdity of the entire thing.
So it would have had to have been explained to him, which would have taken up time.
I think it was good that, Mike was there. We're getting 3 shows in a row of Mike. He's coming back in on Monday.
Wow.
I mean, I used to say for the past couple months, I used to say, I obviously I love all Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I would say like I would probably put Carabas at the top of my list just because it was different, it was new. I like getting the fresh meat. I'm starting to really, really like the Mike shows. It just feels like it's just classic Kirk Minahan show, just nothing but laughs.
It's the security blanket of the Kirk Minahan show. It's like all right, I know what I'm getting today, and I'm gonna like it.
Yes, and I think Kirk knows that to an extent too, from the sense of Carabas is out, so he asks Mike. He's like, "Hey, can you come?" Not that the show wouldn't be great if it was just Kirk and Carano, but I think I really got to tip my cap to Mike for coming in so often this past month, kind of trying to make up for the lack of personalities in the studio. So shout out Blind Mike, definitely go check out
big Blind Mike guy.
Patreon.com/Blind Mike. He's got a bunch of good shit, bunch of good shows up there. He's got
a producer trying to get on every show but his.
That's right, he does. He has a producer who's reaching out to Jerry, and he's reaching out to just pretty much. He
reached out to me privately to produce the Blind Owl blogs.
He actually reached out to me to produce the wrap-up show, and I was like, I just press a button, and he's like, I don't care. He's like, I'll do anything. No. But yeah, so looking forward to, I think, hopefully, some big news comes this weekend. Hopefully we hear back from 96.1, and we have good news to report on Monday.
Let's hope.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, Madawaska is chugging along just fine. I confirmed the Wi-Fi people will be in Madawaska.
That is
which huge. like you say, whoa, but like also like it was very weird last year just not having any cell service like in the entire place.
I bet I've been in that situation, and it is odd, especially nowadays where you're like, whoa, I can't do anything right now with my phone, and I'm pretty reliant on my phone for certain things, so it's
and it was also revealed today, or Matt stepped up today and said that he wanted to, or he will produce the show in Madawaska, which is great. It was put me in an awkward position where Kirk was like, "Did you think you were going to produce?" And I was like, yes, but like I'd love it if Matt took care of the content side, and that was just making sure.
Which I mean,
was all.
That's where Steve was excellent at both of those.
Yes.
And so I mean, it's really a 2-person job when you think about it.
Yes, so I'm going to make sure everything runs smoothly and we have video of it and everything like that. I'm not entirely sure we're going to live stream the entire thing, but I would like to at some point, have the entire thing on video just for.
That'd be sweet.
For old
those of us who couldn't make it, that would be sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll put it out in pay-per-view for like $50 or $60. We'll see how many.
It's a little steep.
Yeah, I mean, but you get what you pay for, so
it's true.
It's true. It's gonna be. I'm looking forward to it. So, anything else from today's show you wanted to touch on?
I mean, just I do have to touch on your description of the last of yesterday's show. Yeah. Why?
So I just write down a bunch of things that they were talking about, and I try to pick like the most like newsworthy things. And I shouldn't have put Ellie Kemper. I thought they were going to talk about that more. It was okay.
It was interesting to me.
It was like,
wow,
stupid. It was dumb.
It was dumb. I found it hilarious.
Dumb.
Don't abuse yourself.
Oh, but yeah, no, it was just. I was just trying to rush out, and I know some people are still having trouble, getting the actual podcast itself on like Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, what's going on with that? Is that on the show's end or the Apple thing?
No, it's on Apple's end. It has nothing to do with the show or Barstool.
Yeah.
It's it all depends on like if you've updated your phone and like in what phone you have.
People have been blaming you, and I've been trying to fight for you. It's
very much people are like, wow, like you're saying the show is up, but the show,
I just got last Monday's show, and it's like it sucks, but like I check before I leave that, I refresh my phone to see if I can get it. And it's just one of those things where it's just maybe for the time being, if Apple Podcasts keeps screwing up, just download Stitcher or.
I have Spotify. That's what I've been using recently.
Yep.
I typically just do Apple just because it's right on the phone and it's easier. But
yeah. But it's but yeah. So I mean, there's really not much else you can do about that besides going.
I'll fight that fight for you, buddy. Don't worry. I knew
you
it.
Want to go fight $1 trillion company?
Let's do it.
So and anything coming up on Blind Owl Blogs?
Well, today's blog was a good one for me. It was about my beat baseball team and how we're starting the season on Sunday. So give that a read. And if you can, we're a nonprofit organization. Throw a donation out there. It would be greatly appreciated.
I like it.
Yeah, like it. And some other stuff. I've got a few things. Me and Tony have been writing a lot, not so much, but as the school year ends, I'll be writing a lot more. So
perfect. That's awesome. So definitely go check that out. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is for next week because I will be in Madawaska, but there will be Wi-Fi. Ooh. So I might have to do the wrap up earlier because I know we're doing kind of like something at Big Rick's on Friday night.
Ooh, exciting!
Maybe I'll do the wrap up live from Big Rick's. That would be very exciting.
Do it. But awesome. I want to thank Ned Snark for filling in for me.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you to Ned.
I was told I would be murdered if I did it during the rehearsal dinner. So
yeah, that would be kind of funny. Yeah, that would have been great. Like, no, honey, you don't understand. Like,
you don't get it.
He does the wrap up show, and I'm always on Friday.
Jared Carabas was in studio.
Yeah. So that about does it. Thank you to Matt Carano. Thank you to Mike. Thank you to Kirk. And I will talk to you guys all on